Just got your Mini 5 Pro and your footage looks jittery? You're missing ND filters. I've been flying drones for over 4 years, and ND filters are one of those things that seem complicated at first, but they're actually dead simple once you understand the basics. I use them on every single flight, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly when and how to use them too. I'll even give you a cheat sheet you can reference every time you fly. The problem ND filters solve is motion blur, or rather the lack of it. To get natural looking footage, we need to use the 180-degree rule. You'll need to be in manual or pro mode to do this. Your shutter speed should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, use 1/60. For 60 frames per second, use 1/125. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this fan. When you use the 180-degree rule, each frame has a smooth, natural blur. If you don't, each frame will be tack sharp. Now, motion blur doesn't matter in every situation. If you're flying high above a forest at low speed, the jitter is less obvious. But if you're flying low over the ground, close to objects, or filming anything that's moving, like tracking a car or zooming down a beach close to the waves, it'll be painfully clear. There's other times when you might actually prefer the sharper look without the ND filter. When I'm doing inspection work or certain aspects of real estate, I want every detail to be crisp so I can pull stills or images from the video. So then that's totally fine. But for most cinematic or storytelling work, the motion blur just looks more natural to the human eye. The more motion in your shot, the more you need motion blur. If you're coming from photography, this next part might confuse you at first. Most drones like the DJI Mini and Air series have a fixed aperture, f/1.8 on this Mini 5 Pro. In photography, you normally just close down the aperture to control light. But on drones, that's locked wide open. Great for low light, but terrible for bright days. So if you're shooting outside with a wide aperture and slow shutter, you're guaranteed to have overexposed footage. So the only thing you can do is crank the shutter all the way up, which means you can't follow the 180-degree rule, and you get that jittery look. And if you're used to controlling exposure with aperture, this will feel broken. But it's not. You just need a different tool. That's where ND filters come in. Think of them as sunglasses for your camera. They reduce the amount of light hitting the sensor without changing the color. This lets you keep your shutter speed slow enough for natural motion blur while preventing overexposure. ND filters are labeled by how much light they block. ND2 cuts the light in half. ND4 cuts to a quarter, and so on. They're made in increments called stops. Each stop either doubles or halves the amount of light. Here's your starting point for which filter to use. Feel free to screenshot it. If you set your shutter speed to auto, then this table will tell you exactly which ND filter you need to get your shutter back to 1/60. Now, here's how the pros do it, if you're up for it. Just power up your drone, go to pro mode, and set your shutter speed to 1/60. Now, hold different ND filters in front of the lens. Watch your screen, and you'll immediately kind of get an idea of which one gets you closest to the proper exposure. This takes about 10 to 15 seconds, and it saves you from having to swap ND filters after you take off. Now, from personal experience, I mostly use ND32. Since I don't typically fly at high noon, that usually covers my needs. ND64 and higher will be needed on really bright days, but overall they tend to be for specialty cases, like time lapses where you need extreme light reduction. Quick note before we jump into the demo. You can use ND filters in auto mode, but your drone will still adjust your shutter speed on its own, so you may not get consistent motion blur. For best results, switch to pro mode so you can lock your shutter speed. Now let me show you how it works in practice. I'm shooting at 30 frames per second, so I need a 1/60 shutter speed. Without an ND filter, even at the lowest ISO, the image is completely blown out. Watch what happens as I add an ND filter. You see the exposure comes down. You can see the histogram moving to the left. And now I have a properly exposed image while maintaining that 1/60 shutter for natural motion blur. Now that you've seen the difference, I'm curious. Are you flying for inspection work, real estate, or any other commercial applications? Or are you just out here capturing memories of your grandkids? One mistake I see beginners make is they leave the ND filter on when they don't need it. So if you're shooting at dusk or indoors and wondering why your footage is dark, check if you forgot to remove your ND32 from the afternoon flight. If you're shooting in the day and you need to raise your ISO, chances are you forgot your filter is on, or it's too strong for those conditions. Now, what if the light changes while you're flying? Maybe clouds are rolling in, the sun comes out. If you're shooting video, minor exposure shifts are fine. You can adjust by either bumping your shutter slightly up or slightly down to compensate, or adjusting in post. But if you're doing a critical shot and the light changes drastically, it's best to land, swap the filter, and refly it. It'll take a minute to do, but it guarantees that you get the shot right. And honestly, this doesn't happen as often as you'd think. Most of the time, the light stays consistent enough for a 5 to 10 minute flight session, which is plenty of time to get your shot. If you got the DJI Mini 5 Pro Fly Mode kit, you already have ND filters in the box. ND8, 32, and 128. Start with those. They cover most shooting conditions. Personally, I use ND32 about 80% of the time since I'm usually flying in the mornings or in the late afternoon. But if you didn't get the Fly Mode kit, grab a basic set that includes ND8, 16, 32, and 64. That'll get you through 90% of situations. You can always expand later with specialty filters for time lapses or polarization, but master the basics first. But now you know why your footage was jittery and exactly how to fix it. But getting smooth motion is only half the battle. You still need to expose the image correctly. Not too bright, not too dark. That's where reading the histogram comes in. And I'll show you exactly how to use it in the next video.